Welcome back. I want to talk about PlayStation Plus Premium and Extra. So these are PlayStation's two service-based tiers where you get games each month and you get some perks here and there. I want to talk specifically, though, about PlayStation Plus Premium because PlayStation Plus Premium, the selling point was PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation Portable games, and some good third-party games here and there, maybe even first-party games a year or two after release. Specifically, though, I want to talk about the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PSP game catalog because I felt like this was a huge selling point. I remembered all of the older games on PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, and I hoped that PlayStation 2 games were going to be brought to the system and the service in a much more, cadence that felt good, as opposed to like every couple of months, one or two games dropping out of the blue that may or may not be good. And it just feels like they dropped the ball when it comes to this tier because there aren't many PlayStation 1 games coming out at a regular basis. There are almost no PlayStation 2 games or PSP games coming. And of course, you've got PlayStation 3 games that still cannot natively be played on the system. You've got to stream them, and nobody wants to stream video games. You're starting to see that die down. Cloud-based streaming is something that just gamers on any system in any market just seriously do not want to do. Now, this is Primal, a PS2 game that is natively playable on PlayStation Plus Premium. And I have to say, folks, that the emulation here, or just whatever is happening when it comes to PlayStation 2 games on the PlayStation 5 in that premium tier, is just not great. There are so many issues playing this game. It is 1,000% better playing it natively on the PlayStation 2, which most people aren't able to do. And to be honest with you, if you have a PlayStation 5 already hooked up and you're subscribed to this tier and PlayStation 2 games are natively offered, why would you want to hook up a PlayStation 2 game to get better performance? It's called a premium tier, so at the very least, these games should be better. I'm not talking about they have to be upscaled to 4K or they have to be 60 frames per second. The fact that they have trophies in there and stuff like that, I don't care about any of that. These games do have them. I'm just talking about it should be at least better than the PlayStation 2 version when it comes to just basic performance. And it feels like Sony isn't doing it. They dropped the ball when it comes to the premium tier. Take a look at the performance here. This is the game actually performing on the PlayStation 5. Look at the flickering. Look at just the inability to play back the game, all of the artifacts, just the bugs in general. This is not something that should be happening in a premium tier when it comes to your PlayStation 2 offerings. Now, I know what you're saying. Hey, it's Primal. Who wants to play Primal? But the thing is, if you're dropping old games into this tier, that's the selling point. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, maybe one day PlayStation 3 if that ever happens, and PSP games. And if you're just dropping in worse versions of the games than what were offered on the original platform, the PlayStation 2, what's the point of calling it a premium tier? Now, there are examples of PlayStation 2 games that run just fine, like the Jak and Daxter Collection, and even some games like Dark Cloud and Dark Cloud 2, Rogue Galaxy. But even with these, they run well, but they're just the basic versions brought over to the PlayStation Plus Premium tier. They're not any higher resolution or higher frame rate. They're simply the PlayStation 2 version of the game. And again, it's great that they run much better than, say, this game in the premium tier, but if you're calling it premium, there should be something other than just, hey, here's the basic game and you can play it. Even with the most recent big release, Legend of Dragoon, it originally released with a lot of bugs. Some of them were game-breaking, and Sony addressed it very quickly and released a patch, but that leads to this idea that these games are just being released into the service. They're not even being vetted properly or even tested properly. And if that's the case, then again, I hate to keep using the word premium, but how premium is this tier? It almost feels like that this subscription service is sort of an afterthought, and I understand that. I think it's more important to focus on the future. It's more important to focus on new content and new games, and they're definitely doing that. PlayStation VR 2 just released. A lot of games for that. There are upcoming first-party games that are going to be absolutely incredible. They've got third-party deals for the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 is selling like hotcakes. Hotcakes, again, I don't know why that's a saying, but it is. But if you're offering a premium tier, it just hasn't hit that mark yet. It almost feels like paying for PlayStation Plus Extra makes more sense than paying for premium at this point. And I'm not sure if they're ever going to get to that point where it feels like a premium tier. I guess as somebody who's been playing on PlayStation consoles since the original, I see so much promise in structuring their online offering much in the same way that Nintendo does, a PlayStation 1 section with a lot of great games there from the PlayStation 1 era, a PlayStation 2 section, a PSP section, and again, maybe one day a PS3 section. Something like that could lean heavily into the nostalgia of their old games. And if games are very important now, new games, new experiences, then they're going to have to be really important in the future when they're not new anymore. And you want them to be preserved and you want them to be respected in a way that makes sense. So if they're not doing it now with their old catalog, why would they do it in the future with these games that we're waiting for right now? I think it's important to do that. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Are you subscribed to PlayStation Plus Premium or Extra? If you're subscribed to Premium, does it feel like a premium service to you? And do you think they're going to start taking it a little bit more seriously than they have in the present? Thanks for watching the video. Think about liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.